Boss battles, they are the epitome of gaming. It can make a game really good or have you ask the question, was it all worth it? In my honest opinion, boss battles play a huge role in making a game memorable. Just think about the first boss battle you've ever encountered or the first time you met an in-game boss that kicked your ass over and over and over again. But you didn't give up because the boss design was really cool, it was a damn good fight, and to top it off, when you defeated them, the sense of accomplishment you get afterwards made it worth it in the end. I for one am a sucker for a good boss battle, and because of that, I would like to welcome you to my new series called Why Was This So Hard? This was an idea that I came up with while playing Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. In this series, I'll be talking about the 3 hardest boss battles from games that I've played that has them. So today, I'll be starting off with the 3 hardest boss battles from Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Starting with number 3, the Scadutree Avatar. Now this motherfucker was as annoying just as much as it was hard, and I can't remember how much time I spent on him, but I know it was well over 3 hours per stream session trying to kill this thing, and it damn near felt impossible. What made this boss so damn hard was the timing of the attack, that weak ass AoE it had, and that rush attack it did in the first, second, and third phase. Yeah, you heard that right, this thing has 3 phases. Surprised the hell out of me because I remember when I thought I beat it for the first time, not knowing that it had a 3rd phase, and I started to celebrate way too early, and the next thing I know, this thing had another full health bar. Each phase had a full health bar, which made this fight more difficult than what it needed to be, but it was fun. Did I mention this thing also has projectiles and it hits like a truck? Yeah, this boss has everything in his arsenal to give you a grade A ass whooping. Learning the moves and dancing with the Scadutree was pretty fun after a few deaths, but it was more so timing with me than anything else and knowing when to roll and when to attack. With the 3rd phase being the worst, it takes everything from the 1st and 2nd phase, adds it to the 3rd phase with a couple new moves. The dash, rush, projectiles, and the AoE all come at you at once, and I had to roll until I couldn't no more. It really takes patience to defeat this boss, but it's damn sure worth it in the end. Now let's watch as the Scadutree Avatar final moments comes to a close. Let's go! Finally, dubs in the chat. Now let's get to number 2, Rellana, Twin Moon Knight. This boss right here is a lot tougher than Millennia, which a lot of bosses plus smaller enemies are a lot tougher in the DLC than the base game anyway. Rellana put me through a fucking blender, and I easily spent at least 8 hours fighting her. First of all, she is probably one of the most aggressive bosses in the game that you have little room for ever to mess up. She has delays to her attacks and fakes, which are pretty nice because I bet on damn near every one. She has projectiles that she likes to spam sometimes and has an infamous special move called Twin Moons. The Twin Moon special is the most egregious shit I've ever witnessed at the time of facing her, and I swear the time it takes to jump or roll past the waves of magic is absurd. Rellana not only hits like a truck, but she's also fast. I will say, during the first few hours I made it a lot tougher for myself because I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to fight her yet, and I didn't have enough Scadutrees on me, which at the time I think I had around 4, and I needed at least 8 to 10 of them. In case you didn't know, Scadutree fragments was an item that boosts your attack power. They are crucial for the DLC. Once I collected more and came back, I had an easier time as I dealt more damage, but don't get it twisted, I was still subjugated to the same ass whooping. I just needed to be better, and I did overcome the battle. Rellana was a cool boss battle, and I will remember it forever. It wasn't just all flash with her, but definitely needed some skill to beat her. You might even have to respect your character a couple times to find out what is the best way to win. I ran the Moonveil with high intelligence most of the time, and that's how I ended up beating her. Rellana is tough as hell, so make sure you go farm some runes if you need to. Now let's weigh in on Rellana's final moments as a boss. You're done. Let's go! Dubs in the chat. Dubs in the chat. Let's go! Get this bitch out of here. Now we're at number 1. Last but certainly not least, Promised Consort Radahn, the final boss in Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Man, first of all, I went through the whole DLC without getting spoiled online, so I had no clue what I was getting myself into, and boy, was it the most stressful fun I've ever had. Base game Radahn has nothing on Promised Consort Radahn, I promise you that. It's absolutely night and day. When you walk through that boss door, it's intimidating low-key because you see him standing there waiting to throw hands and shame you in defeat. He then leaps with an attack that sort of looks like M. Bison Psycho Crusher. Completely threw me off the first time I saw it. Dancing with Radahn and learning his moveset definitely has some nice rhythm once you died enough times. His delayed combo with quick slash attack always got me, and his double sweeps did a lot of damage and were annoying to roll through. He has a bunch of other moves in the first phase, but I just wanted to highlight his gravity meteor. The first time I saw this, my mind was blown. He drives his swords into the ground, jumps into the air, then launches his meteors right at you, and the only thing you can do is run. Now the second phase is a whole other beast. Think about how I described the first phase and times that by 10. Every time you start the second phase, he does this horrendous AoE holy explosion that seems damn near impossible to get away from. I've done some research during the battle, and it seems the only means of escape is to run as far as you can in the opposite direction. He has nearly the same moveset from before, except now every time he attacks, he has holy beams that follow right after. Did I mention he has 2 AoEs? Yeah, 2. I mentioned the holy AoE from before, and the second one is his meteor crash attack. The only way you can escape it is if you run as far as you can and be prepared to roll just to play it safe. This shit was so crazy that it's a little hard for me to put into words, and that's no exaggeration. Another thing that made this boss so hard was all the visual clutter on the screen in the second phase. It gets redundant when you can't time your rolls properly. Listen, Radahn is nothing to play with, and you really get to see why Radahn is the hardest boss that From Software has ever made. I went in solo with only the Moon Veil and didn't have any success until I did a respec and went with a heavy build that utilized the Giant Crusher Hammer. I went through about 4 build changes before I settled with the heavy build because it was the one that did the most damage and got the most stuns. Even still, I had to dance, be patient, and pick my shots. This is the hardest boss battle I've ever went up against that I can remember in my history of playing video games, and honestly, I don't think anything comes close. Besides this boss being tough as shit, Promise Consort Radahn is truly a work of art, and I think most gamers should try to get here and experience that at least once. It will stress you, but you will have fun knowing that you overcame something difficult and didn't quit. Now let's lock in on Radahn's final moments before he met his maker.
I promise you, 1,000-year voyage guided by compassion.
Let's go! Let's go! Get his bitch ass out of here! Get his bitch ass out of here! I went with these boss battles because I truly believe that these were the toughest. Now, an honorable mention has to go to Bale the Dread, the one-legged fire-breathing dragon that had beef with Igon. This was definitely one of the coolest and hardest boss battles in the game. Let me know what were the hardest boss battles to you in the comments below.